back, Treasure Valley. I'm Stevie Kellum, and I am your only local talk show host here in the greater Treasure Valley and beyond. You want to know why I said and beyond? Because we're all the way out to Twin Falls, all the way up to McAllen, down to Elko. Hi, people in Elko watching. Hey, we've got a really great show coming up for you, but I do want to remind you that in the park today out in Caldwell, we had the Healing for Huntington's Disease. If you want to find out more information about that, please hit up our website at treasurevalleyview.com. There's also a place there for you to donate to a very worthy cause. Last night we celebrated with Angela over at Comedy for a Cure, and all around the Treasure Valley there's a lot of love being shown for women with breast cancer. It's National Breast Cancer Awareness here in the Treasure Valley. It's October after all, so I'm certain you've seen a lot of women running around in pink. Support them and love on them because they need your help and support. We've got a fantastic show coming up for you today. I had a wonderful opportunity to meet with a Paralympian, three-time gold winner. Her name is Muffy Davis, and she won over in the Olympics in Europe, I believe, for hand cycling. Stay tuned and watch for her. She's amazing. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks, Treasure Valley. Well, hello there, Treasure Valley. Again, I'm Stevie Kellum, and I am out in beautiful Eagle at the Hilton Resort. They've very lovingly allowed us to come down and meet with Muffy Davis, a Paralympian. Welcome to the show, Muffy.
Thank you. Thanks. It's an honor to be here.
Well, we've been having conversation here for what seems to be about an hour and a half, according to my husband, and I've really enjoyed the opportunity to get to know you, and I'd really like for the Treasure Valley to meet her the way I have, and I hope that you get an opportunity or come out of this interview feeling the way I do for you. I just think you're an amazing person.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Okay, so you are actually an Idaho native as well, is that right?
Correct, yep.
And from
Sun
Valley?
Here, yep, grew up in Sun Valley. Well, first lived in Twin and moved up to Sun Valley when I was quite young, but went through school all the way through in Ketchum and Sun Valley.
In Ketchum. Okay, and when you were younger, then you were training. You were skiing, of course. What else? I mean, what do you do in Sun Valley? That's what you do.
Yeah.
So you were skiing, and tell me a little bit about your experience up in Sun Valley and skiing, and because I understand you were training with Peekaboo as well.
Right. We grew up together. Yeah. My parents put me on skis at 3 years old. They thought it was the best babysitter. Okay. Put me on skis. They could go ski, but they didn't realize how expensive it was going to be for them.
It is expensive.
Because I took to it, and by the time I was 7, I felt like I had found my special gift, and I told my mom that God had made me be a ski racer, and I started racing at a young age. Again, yeah, Peekaboo Street and I grew up racing together. We were each other's childhood rivals, and I had a lot of success, and by the time I was 14, I was named to the U.S. development team and climbing those ranks, and my goal was...
Now, was that a normal age for people to be...
That was a little young. Now, I'm not, I don't follow it as closely anymore, but around then, there were only like two or three of us at that age that were named to the development team. Okay. And then you get named to the full-on team between 17 and 19, maybe.
So they work with you and they grow you.
Yeah, it's up and coming. Gotcha. They see kids with talent, potential. My goal was to go to the Olympics, represent my country. That's what I wanted to do.
And well, you did, but not with...
Not the way I had originally anticipated, right. When I was 16, in Sun Valley, in my hometown, I had an accident. Okay. It was an early downhill training run. Okay. And I went off the course and lost control, flew off a corner at about 50 miles an hour. It was a really tight cat track corner. Okay. And back in those days, we had those long skis. They don't even make them anymore, like 215 centimeters. Just couldn't hold the apex of the turn. Lost control, flew off at about 50 miles an hour into the trees, and I hit the first tree with my back. Bounced off of that, hit the next tree, flew 5 feet, hit the next tree with my head, shattered my helmet. Oh my gosh. I mean, so lucky that I had my helmet, saved my life for sure. But when I hit that first tree, I sustained a compression fracture in the middle of my chest. Okay. So And what that resulted in was paraplegia. And I was taken to the local hospital, stabilized, and as soon as I was medically stable after surgery, I flew to Colorado, where I spent 3 months at a rehab hospital, learning how to live, you know, hoping that it was going to get better, but in the meantime, learning how to live an independent life in a wheelchair.
Okay, so it was in Colorado that you learned how to adapt to being in a wheelchair, and it's a whole new life. I mean,
oh, totally. I mean, you know, of course, at first I was devastated, and mentally I was like, I'm going to get better, I'm going to walk, and I took all of that competitive energy and channeled it into my rehab. And if I could have willed it, I would have gotten better. Unfortunately, my spinal cord, you know, the damage was pretty intense, and it never really healed. No change since the day of injury. But it was there over the time that I kind of grew to start understanding life as a person with disability. It took me about 2 years, though, really, to come to full acceptance, to realize I'm not going to wake up in the morning and swing my legs out of bed, and to be okay with that.
Okay, and not only were you okay, but you went on to go back to skiing, isn't that right?
I did. I went, and while I was in college in California, and took adaptive lessons and learned how to ski again on a piece of equipment called a monoski.
And so, and you became competitive with that as well, correct?
I did. It took me a little while. For me, at first, it wasn't very functional. It took a while to get the equipment dialed in, but once I did,
was that more of a mental thing too?
More actually really physical. Oh, back then, you know, this was a long time ago, the equipment for my high injury level really wasn't designed.
Oh.
I don't have any abdominal functioning muscles and limited lats, so the equipment didn't give me, it was like trying to ski in tennis shoes. For those of you that ski, there was just no support. And until we could get the equipment built up, that gave me the lateral support. And when I found the right equipment, that's when my skiing progressed immensely.
And then you went ahead to ski competitively until 2002, right?
I did. I made the U.S. team in '97, and in '98 was named to the U.S. Paralympic team and got to accomplish that dream and goal. Not the way I'd once anticipated, but I got to go compete in the Paralympic Games in Nagano, Japan.
Oh, wow.
And I won a bronze medal there. And then kept racing and competing and in 2002 again represent my country in Salt Lake City, where I won 3 silvers.
Oh, so, my gosh.
Yeah, so I was lucky. I was still able, you know, Peekaboo was able to go to the Olympics, and I was able to go to the Paralympics.
Were too. You know what? I think actually, Muffy, we have a clip that we'd like to show you, and as a matter of fact, we'll have the clip take us on out, and then we'll be right back with Muffy to find out what she's been doing since 2002, because she took a little break. We'll be right back with you. Welcome back to Treasure Valley. Again, we're here with Muffy. She is a Paralympian, right?
Yes.
A Paralympian. I'm getting good at that.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that we all understand that Paralympian, they actually parallel the Olympics. Is that
correct? Yes,
correct?
that's what it stands for. Paralympian is parallel to the Olympics. So.
Own separate movement. I just learned that. Okay, so coming back, right before we went to break, we were talking about you made it to 2002 with the with skiing.
Yep.
And then you took a little bit of a hiatus.
Well, I fully retired. After 2002, I thought it couldn't get any better. Competing in your own country, getting on the podium 3 times. I had been asked to light the cauldron in the opening ceremonies.
Oh.
So I mean, it was an amazing experience, and I felt blessed. I'd been able to reach my lifelong dream.
Right.
So I retired.
So you retired completely.
Done.
And so after retirement, you just completely relaxed. You just enjoyed your home. You just, I mean, probably sat around and did nothing.
No.
And not sitting. That was
Ha. Yeah, that's what I get teased. I sit all the time.
Yeah.
No, I had been invited that year to climb Mount Shasta with 3 other paraplegics. So we, jumped into a new adventure.
So, but climbing, I mean, clearly you're not.
Right, I'm not going to climb on my legs. There was this amazing guy, Peter Ricci, and he built this piece of equipment called a snow pod. He had been a mountaineer, had an accident climbing, and didn't want to let his accident and his disability keep him from the places he loved, and he wanted to open it to other people with disabilities.
Wow.
So he created this thing called a snow pod, and it's literally like a little tank, and it's all hand cranked, and it's arduously slow.
So, but you all got into this? Or
We all, each had our own pod, our own little snow pod.
How long did it take?
5.5 days. We climbed for 10 hours at night. You climb at night because the snow was the hardest then. So
you didn't like do it, okay, but you didn't do it in the summertime.
We did it in May. So end of May, because we're high. It's 14,162 feet tall. There's snow year round. Yeah, exactly. Well, I got every foot of that in, so I am. Let me tell you, I am right on it. But no, it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Like,
but you did it
physically, emotionally, and all of that.
There's a lot of people who are 2 able-bodied legs cannot do that.
Yeah, there were some people, in fact, we were at 13,000 feet when the worst storm they'd ever had there. Like, it was lightning and thundering below us. We were above the thunder, and it was, I mean, I guess it was dangerous. For me, it was a spiritual experience. Ignorance is bliss.
Right.
But it ended up clearing, and the next day we made a bid for the summit, and we all 4 of us got there. Did what many people said was impossible.
So not impossible.
Nope.
You not reaching your first goal, not impossible.
Right.
So then you went back to relax.
Yeah.
You just like kicked it at home.
No, then I got married. I met my husband, and actually I'd met him before the games, but we had been dating. But we got married in 2004.
Yeah, I heard tell that you're quite the little flirt.
Yeah, he says I am. He says I'm a flirt. I don't know. I claim ignorance on that one, but yeah, we got married, and then we decided to take a year and volunteer and travel around the world. And so we
and you volunteered
teaching,
spreading the word about being able-bodied versus disabled, having a new life and being able to adapt. So you just kind of relaxed through that too, right?
Part of it was that. I mean, we definitely had fun, but we taught sports and recreation. My husband, Jeff, is a recreation therapist, and so he teaches sport to people with disabilities. So we found organizations, mostly in developing countries, in Africa, in Turkey, in Thailand, Sri Lanka
too,
and got to go meet people with disabilities and teach them what's possible and what the options are out there in sports and recreation. And my passion, that's my passion, recreating and playing. And I feel blessed that I can still do this, so I want to be able to share that with people that may not know what's possible.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know, and I was sharing with you before that I grew up with my aunt who was a quadriplegic, my uncle who was a paraplegic. So for me to have this conversation with you is the most natural thing ever.
Right.
For us to joke the way we're part of a clique.
Yeah.
We have a certain, bonding, but you have a life outside of, you continue to live and you make the best of it.
I have a great life. I have a different life than I might have had I not had my disability, but it's by no means less of a life. I have a great life.
And you know what? When we come back from this next commercial, we'll go ahead and find out what she has been doing after she took off the 1 year to just completely relax. No, she didn't do that either. She did a whole bunch, as you just heard. But we'll be right back, Treasure Valley, with Muffy Davis to tell you what she's done since then. Welcome back, Treasure Valley. Once again, I've got Muffy Davis here with me, and we were just going over, she was in retirement and she thought nothing could get better than this. You've met your husband, you're madly in love with him, and then out of the middle of nowhere, you guys have decided, hey, let's have a baby after we've already toured the world and, taught everybody athletics, for the handicapped and, right?
Yep.
Handicap and
people with disabilities.
People with disabilities, and then you decided to have a baby.
Yep, we came back and we wanted to start our family.
And so you had a little, I didn't even, what's her name?
A little girl, her name is Elle.
L, like the letter L, or
E-L-L-E.
Oh, I love that. It's very simple.
Yeah. Well, her full name is Glenda Noel, but because she was due Christmas Day. Oh. Noel, but we call her Elle.
I love that. Okay, so you had her, and then like every other woman in the world, you decided, hey, I need to get this baby weight off.
Yes.
So let's start working out. So you just went to the gym and...
Yeah. Well, no, I needed to get aerobic exercises, so I started riding a bike called a hand cycle.
Oh,
a bike, since I can't pedal with my legs, we have these bikes called hand cycles, and you ride with your arms.
Like the pod that you use to climb up.
Similar idea, but yeah, with wheels, exactly. Okay. And so I decided to start riding my hand cycle, and I'm the type of person I need to have a goal. So I set a goal to do a marathon a few months, like about 4 months after Elle was born, and did the marathon, and there I met...
You can't just set like normal goals, like, hey, it's okay if I just ride 20 miles today. You're like, no, I have to try out for a marathon.
No, but it's a lot different riding it in a bike than running a marathon.
Right.
But yeah, I had success, did the marathon, and met a bunch of several other people in my town that were involved in the hand cycle circuit, and they kind of taught me and took me under their wing and kind of showed me the ropes and told me I needed to go to a camp, and it was at the camp I took the next year, went to this camp that I learned I should go to nationals.
Okay.
So, it was one of those, it just kind of happened. My goal wasn't to start competing again, but it kind of...
You're competitive anyway.
It is,
so
and
it was natural
I enjoy that. And so I went to nationals, ended up having success, won my class, so was named to the U.S. World Championship team.
Oh my gosh.
Right away.
And so that allowed you then to start training. Now, was there a development team?
Nope. I was right onto the team. And thrown right in. I feel like I didn't even know the sport. I'm still learning how to ride a bike.
Right.
And I went to World Championships where I had a lot of success. I won 3 silver medals. So.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Okay,
so it was.
Where did these come from?
So after that, I knew that. After that, I knew that.
Oh my God.
The
this
goal
is like really freaking heavy.
Was then to make the Paralympic team. So I literally just got back. I was fortunate. I made it to London.
Are you getting this?
And I just got back from the games where I was fortunate to win 3 gold medals.
Holy, these are really stinking heavy, y'all. These are, wow, this is amazing. And so you won for fastest time and in a relay and in the street racing.
The road race. So the time trial.
Road rage.
Yeah.
Different from road racing.
So the time trial, which is what Kristen Armstrong won her gold in. So I like to say, Idaho has strong women. Strong women in the time trial.
Right.
And then the road race I won as well. And then we have a hand cycle relay, which is a 3-member relay. So our team is very dominant and strong in that. So.
And you kicked some tail.
Well, we had it was amazing.
Medals.
I like to say I'm like a fine wine. I get better with age. So 10 years ago, my last games, I got 3 silvers. And 10 years later, I got 3 golds. So
yeah, but what else? I mean, you've had some amazing success this last year. What else? Are you super proud, super happy
for
about?
Me, my biggest accomplishment this last year, I would say, is that I did not lose 1 race all year. So to have a completely successful season and having not lost one was, for me, what I'm most proud of. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. I love the medals. I'm proud of them, and they're wonderful. But that's on one given day. But to be able to have a whole season where you've had success like that was pretty spectacular.
Pretty amazing. Okay, so really quickly, because I want everybody to know, and we just have a short period of time. What one thing would you want to tell everybody with regards to, hey, just tell me one thing that you would want to share with everybody, no holds barred.
I guess what I want people to know is that disability doesn't have to be devastating to someone's life. It's hard and it's challenging when it happens, and you definitely have to give yourself time to grieve and accept that. But I have an amazing life, and I don't want anyone to ever see me and feel sorry for me or to pity me or anyone with a disability, because anything is possible. And I mean, I have a different life than I would have had I been able-bodied, but I have by no means less of a life. I have been able to accomplish everything I've ever wanted to do, and even more so than I had thought possible. So I guess anything's possible, and never put limits on anyone.
Well, unfortunately, we have to put a limit on the time that we have to spend. Unfortunately, Treasure Valley, this has been a huge honor for all of us, realistically. I am very, very thrilled that you could come over here and visit with us on your media whirlwind tour.
Yeah.
And Treasure Valley, if you have any more, if you'd like more information, please check out www.treasurevalleyview.com. There will be all kinds of links and videos so that you could get in touch with Muffy if you would like more information, or if you just like for her to be your pen pal. Maybe she would give you some words of encouragement if you find yourself in that kind of a situation. Thanks so much for tuning in, Treasure Valley. Again, I'm Stevie Kellum, and we were happy to have you along with this part of our journey. Hello, Treasure Valley. Once again, we have an opportunity to sit with Monique from the Meridian Humane Society and show a fun little tiny guy. We've never had a small one on the show.
This is special. I always bring the big dogs, you guys. So we have a little one. This is Chase.
Hi, Chase.
He's a little Chihuahua. He's a little Chihuahua. And he's 8 years old, but as we were talking earlier, that's not necessarily old for the smaller breeds because they live a long time.
Forever.
Yeah,
right.
They live nearly forever. Right. Yeah. So he's looking for a home. If you're interested in him, the website is meridianhumanesociety.org, and he's just a cool little guy. He really
has a great disposition.
He does. He's pretty chill. He's calm. He do well with adults, I think, in an adult home. He knows some commands, walks well on a leash, he's house
Well, we just had the bully breed over here, and they brought in a big, I think that's probably Champion, but they brought him over, and he did just fine with them.
Yeah, and he was a big pity. So you know how Chihuahuas are. They kind of hold their own with the big ones.
Yeah, they're pretty convinced that they're the Rottweiler, right?
Or exactly.
And they're really not.
Yeah.
So Chase has clearly been taken care of, and he came in as a stray, right?
He did. So nobody came to claim him, and he's been at the shelter almost a couple weeks now. So he's looking for a home, and he's been well taken care of, well fed. He knows some commands.
So he was clearly very well taken care of. I don't understand how people just can lose a member of their family and then not go and try to find them. Hey, maybe you're looking for your Chihuahua. He's here.
I know.
Meridian Humane Society. They might not know where he's at. And P.S. he's not neutered. So if you didn't have your dog neutered or spayed, not this one, he needs to be neutered, but maybe this one's yours. And is his name Chase? Because we're making up all kinds of stuff this morning.
Yes, we are. So before he does get adopted out, he'll be neutered. Okay. So he'll be all set to go.
Because that's part of the adoption fee when you they come and adopt or foster. They have to be spayed or neutered first.
Exactly, and he'll have his vaccinations and all that, and he'll just have a little clean bill of health for you.
I like clean bills of health.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially now, I heard you say too that he's the only one out there right now. The second that's one of the smaller ones.
It's crazy. The you know, it just ebbs and flows. Last month when I was here, the shelter was slammed, and so now he's the only one available. So he's the last one, you guys.
Great work out there at the Meridian Humane Society. Oh, that was nice. Like,
I'm the last one.
Come and get me. I'm all alone out there.
Let's have a record and have no dogs in the shelter.
That would be great. Have you ever had no dogs in the shelter?
You know, I'm not sure. It's rare. It's rare.
Okay, now I just heard you say you don't work for the Meridian Humane Society full time.
I don't. So I volunteer with them, and I help do the, go to events and bring the dogs here and walk them.
So what do people need to do then if they want to be a volunteer?
Just go to the website, and there's a lot of information on there on different roles. They always need people to walk the dogs, fostering
dogs. How old
dogs.
do they have to be? Because I know my daughter's 14, and she would love to be a part
I think teenagers are all right, that they can come in and help, or you can donate food. If you don't have the time, you can have, certainly they'll accept little sweaters like this.
We were just
you know,
talking
all
about
kinds
his
of
little
goodies. Because in the winter, a lot of the short-haired dogs get cold, and we still try to take them to events and stuff. So there's all kinds of ways to help. So meridianhumanesociety.org if you're interested in adopting or just helping in some way.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Monique, for coming on today and joining us with little Chase. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Treasure Valley. Go out and adopt Chase today. Well, thank you very much for joining us again here on the Treasure Valley View. Hey, I just want to let you know what I will be doing along with a lot of our family and friends. They're coming over to our house tonight to help support, love, and encourage my son, Devin Woodson. I'm going to get really emotional. I really am so proud of you. He's taking off on Monday to be a part of the very established, the very time-honored Marine Corps. Devin, I love you, and I wish you all the well, and every other one of the newbies heading off into a brand new adventure and part of their life. Best of luck to you, and I look forward, Treasure Valley, to seeing you here every Saturday, KTRV Channel 12. Love your face. Take it away, Ken.